Chatters, chatties, welcome home for a Great American Chat, a podcast where we chat about great American media. I'm Chad Maurice, and today we are chatting about the six Great American Pure Flix movies that premiered on Great American Family last month and this month. I didn't get to do an episode on each movie. I did an episode on Mr. Manhattan, but I didn't get to the other five, so I thought I would do a summary episode so we could chat about each movie. But before we get to that, we have to chat about the Great American Christmas schedule that was released a week or so ago. What do you think of it? It looks pretty good. Now, when I took a first quick glance at the schedule, I noticed there are three Candace Cameron Bure movies on the schedule. She's got a couple new ones: A Christmas Less Traveled with Eric Johnson, and then Home Sweet Christmas with Cameron Matheson. And then they have on there her 10-year-old movie that she did with Jesse Hutch called Let It Snow. And an interesting story about that movie. I remember when I met Jesse Hutch at Christmas Con back in 2022, I said to him, "Hey, since you and Candace are both doing movies for the network now, you should do a sequel to Let It Snow." And he said, "Oh, no, we can't do that because Hallmark owns the rights to that movie. So that'll never happen." Well, surprise. Looks like Great American Media must have purchased the rights to the movie, so they actually could do a sequel now if they wanted to. And speaking of Jesse Hutch, he has two movies back to back in the schedule: A Little Women's Christmas on November 23rd and Sleigh Bells and Sugar Plums on November 24th. That's the one with Jill Wagner. There are three cast members from County Rescue in Christmas movies. Julia Riley and Tanya Christensen are in A Little Women's Christmas, and Kristen Wollett is in Wreath Maker Christmas with Casey Elliott from Destined at Christmas. Brittany Underwood and Jonathan Stoddard are reuniting for another Royal Christmas movie. This year's movie is called A Royal Christmas Ballet. I think she plays an ex-ballet dancer, something like that. Ash Ty, who we saw in last year's Journey to Christmas, is going to be back this year for A Shelter and Season's Greetings. And I think two of the most anticipated Christmas movies are A Christmas Castle Proposal, that's the sequel to A Prince in Paradise with Rhiannon Fish, and also A Little Women's Christmas with the ensemble cast of Trevor Donovan, Gillian Murray, Jen Lilly, Laura Osmus, Julia Riley, and Jesse Hutch, and also Gladys Knight makes a little small appearance in the movie as well. So I plan on doing two Great American Christmas preview episodes next month, so we can chat in more detail about these movies. And the Dono fans are going to join me for one of those episodes so they can dish all about Trevor's movie. So let's get into these six Great American Pure Flix movies. Starting us off, we had Mr. Manhattan on August 3rd. This one is about a hotshot New York City attorney who gets custody of his niece and nephew after his brother and sister-in-law are killed in an accident. He has a difficult time taking care of them and juggling his career and personal life. His ex-fiancée comes to town to help him take care of the kids, and sparks start to fly between them. He's struggling to juggle his life and the kids, so he winds up giving custody of the kids to his ex, but then he regrets it. In the end, he, the kids, and his ex reunite, and they become a happy family. So, I've seen a lot of the Panavega movies. I haven't seen them all, but I've seen a lot of them. And I think this is their best movie. At least it's the best one that I've seen. I thought that these two were really good in this movie. And this movie's really good. It has heart, it has humor, has emotion, has a good cast from the main characters to the supporting cast. And after watching this movie, I thought, boy, if all of these movies are this good, then these next 6 weeks is going to be a real treat. We're going to get 6 really good movies. And actually, I thought all of the movies were really good. So let's get into the next one. God's Country Song This one premiered on August 10th. This one was about a popular country singer named Noah. He's not mega famous like Taylor Swift, but he is somewhat famous, and he's trying to get big. Some woman dies and claims her son is his. He tells his manager there's no way that kid is mine. They do a DNA test, and surprise, he is the baby daddy. So he goes and meets the kid and the woman. He also meets the woman who works at Child Protection Services. Her name is Leanne. And I think she's fostering his son, until he takes custody. I believe that's what was going on there. So he takes his son to his parents' house. Let me tell you, the first 45 minutes of this movie, everything is great. He likes the kid likes him, his parents like the kid, but then things take a turn for the worst. For some reason, he starts drinking and getting into bar fights and firing his band members. His manager gets fed up with him and says, "I'm out. I can't take you anymore." He also loses this big gig he had to be the warm-up band for some big-name country singer. So he realizes his life is in trouble. So he decides to get off the road. He goes back home to his parents' house, and he prays to the Lord for help and guidance. And then Leanne, the woman from Child Protection Services, comes to visit, and they hit it off. They start spending time together, and the two of them, along with the kid, become a family. And then his dad, who never approved of him being a musician, goes to see him play, tells him he is proud of him, and gives him a guitar. So this is a real emotional movie. This one definitely tugs at the heartstrings. And I thought it was fun seeing Muriel Hemingway in a movie. I haven't seen her in a movie in a long time. The music in this movie is really good. I think I read that there were 15 original songs written for this movie. And I believe the actor who plays Noah there, he's an actual musician and actor. And I think he wrote all the songs for this movie and sang them, I believe. Now, this movie actually has 3 love stories in it. It has a love story between Noah and Leanne, and then there's one between he and his son, and then there's another one between he and his father. So pretty interesting. There were kind of 3 storylines going on there. Now this movie, on the Great American Pure Flix website, this movie is 1 hour and 45 minutes. But in order to make it fit into the 2-hour time frame to air it on Great American Family, I think they cut out about 20 minutes of this movie because they have to make room for commercials and promos. So I need to watch the full movie sometime and see what I missed. I think the movie would have made a little bit more sense if I would have seen all those deleted scenes. Because him started drinking didn't make much sense to me, because there was no mention of him having a drinking problem in the beginning of the movie. And then all of a sudden in the middle of the movie, he just starts drinking and becomes a wild man. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, did I miss something? And I think I did. I think some scenes were cut out there. So I need to see the entire movie. I think the storyline would have flowed a little bit better. But I did enjoy this movie. This movie, if you're in the mood for a good cry, and this is a movie for you, especially the last 30 minutes of this movie are real emotional and really get you, especially the end when his father goes to see him play and then the kid gets up on stage and is dancing with him. Yeah, that'll get you for sure. Let's get into Nothing is Impossible, # the basketball movie. This one premiered on August 17th. The lead in this one is a high school janitor at the high school where he was a big basketball star. His name is Scott. There is a local professional basketball team that is owned by his high school girlfriend. Her name is Ryan. She fires a couple of the players and decides to have open tryouts for new team members. Scott, the janitor, gets wind of this and decides to try out after being encouraged by his friend, the high school basketball coach. So after a couple of rocky training montages, he tries out. He passes all the challenges they throw at him, but we find out that these tryouts are all rigged. They were just having him try out for publicity. They weren't even considering him to be an actual player on the team. But in the end, they don't offer him a position on the team as a player, but as an assistant coach. So he not only gets a coaching job, but he also gets the girl too. Then the head coach, after some time, the head coach passes away and he takes over as the head coach. So this movie, if you like Rocky movies, then you'll like this movie. This is one of those rooting for the underdog storylines. It was fun seeing Harry Lennox in this movie and Robert Amaya. Harry, who plays the head coach in this movie, he plays God in Destination Heaven, which is on Great American Pure Flix. And Robert, Scott's friend and co-worker in this movie, he was the angel in An Unlikely Angel in that movie. So fun seeing them again. I love the faith in this movie. When he becomes the head coach, he makes his friend, played by Robert there, he makes him the team chaplain. And the movie ends with the team saying a prayer before starting a game. So this movie is very inspirational. It reminds you that it's never too old to follow your dreams. So, like I said, if you like Rocky movies, I think you'll like this one. I'm a fan of the Rocky movies, so I enjoyed this one. Oh, now we got to get into this one. Oh, Finding Faith. This one premiered on October 24th. Oh, I love this movie. This is about a woman named Victoria who writes a faith-based advice column. Everything seems hunky-dory to her readers, but under the surface, her marriage is falling apart. She wants a divorce from her husband, even though he still loves her. One of the things that caused problems in their marriage is that they lost a baby, and also because her husband is a musician and travels with his band and is always on the road. She loses her mother and then almost loses her father. After her mother passes away, she finds out that her father cheated on her mother. And then, with everything she is going through, her faith in God begins to waver. In the end, though, she finds her faith. She and her husband reunite, and they wind up having a baby. Oh, so like I said, this movie hit home with me. I love this movie. I like that this movie featured a married couple going through problems in their relationship and dealing with past trauma. I thought it was very realistic, the couple and the entire story. This movie definitely makes you feel all the feels. Ashley Bratcher, who plays Victoria, is fantastic in this. She and Jonathan Stoddard have really good chemistry, so I really enjoyed them together. And it was fun seeing John Schneider in this movie. He gives a good performance. This movie just makes you feel good. And it lets you know that with God's help, you can get through anything. And I also love the music in this one, too. The music in this one was written by Andrew Stevens, who was one of the producers. And I don't know, you might remember him. I don't know, he was a famous actor back in the 70s and 80s. But anyway, he wrote this song called Sunday Kinda Love, that song that is at the end, that Jonathan's character sings at the end. Man, that's a really good song. And last week I chatted with Ashley about making this movie, and she talked about some of the funny things that happened behind the scenes. So check out that episode when you get a chance. It's on YouTube and also on all the podcast apps. So yeah, this one, I think out of these 6 movies, I have to say, I think this one was probably my favorite one. I really like this movie. Divine Influencer. This one premiered on August 31st. This one's about a rich social media influencer named Olivia who loses everything when a video accidentally gets posted and her parents decide she needs to be on her own and they cut her off from their money. She can't pay her rent and winds up homeless. She finds out a homeless shelter is looking for an employee, so she applies for the job so that she will have a place to live. She starts off hating the place, but in the end, she grows to love the people there, both the other employees and the homeless people who are living there. Everything is going great, and she helps them raise some money using her social media skills. But things go sour when the guy who runs the facility, his name is Ryan, he's someone she went to school with, He finds out that she just accepted the job because she needed a place to live, not because she wanted to help people. So then Ryan fires her. In the end, she saves the shelter from going out of business by getting donors for a fundraiser. She and Ryan make up and get together. She opens a clothing store where all the clothes are donated by these high-end designers, and the profits go to the homeless shelters in the area. So this is another emotional movie, especially near the end, when she learns that helping others is more important than helping yourself. It's nice seeing her attitude change throughout this movie. She starts off as a rich snob, but in the end, she just lives day to day and is just out to help people, not looking for any financial gain. So this movie has a nice message. And I was watching this movie, and I was surprised to see Jesse Metcalf in this movie. He like popped in there, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Whoa, that's Jesse Metcalf. I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. So he makes an appearance kind of at the beginning and then again at the end. Let's get into the final one. The Engagement Plan. This movie is a funny one. This one premiered earlier this month on September 7th. Wade, who is a big city boy, decides he's going to propose to his country living girlfriend, Kayla. He goes home with her to meet her family, and he brings an engagement ring with him. He has it all planned out, but things don't go as planned. First, he meets her father, who is a down-home country boy who works on a farm and knows nothing about technology. Then he meets Cam, a jacked-up, hunky guy who is a combination of Trevor Donovan and Paul Walker. Cam is Kayla's ex-boyfriend, who still has a thing for her. So Wade and Cam start a competition vying for Kayla's attention, and both of their ugly sides come out. In the end, they realize their mistakes, they apologize to each other, and Wade and Kayla do get engaged, and her family welcomes him into their family. So I thought this was a good movie to end this series on. After all the serious movies and emotional ones, it was nice to have a good laugh in this movie. This movie I thought was really funny. I laughed out loud several times, and I usually don't laugh at these movies. I thought this one had a fun story about what can go wrong when planning an engagement. And it has a good ensemble cast with Faith Ford, Eva LaRue, Ted McGinley, and Judd Nelson. So this one I really enjoyed. And if you're looking for a good laugh, I think that you will also enjoy this one. And it was fun to see a true rom-com on the network, because this one is definitely a comedy. You know, most of their movies are romantic dramas. They don't make you laugh, but this one definitely did. So this was a lot of fun. Now this Saturday's movie, Mystery by the Book. It stars Corey Sevier and, oh boy, Alicia Jasipovic, something like that. Maybe I was close. The synopsis says a bookstore owner starts an antagonistic relationship with a book cover model until an antique key found in a false book unlocks a mystery and perhaps a new romance. So this is, from what I take it from that summary, this is an enemies to lovers storyline. And I have a trailer. Let's take a look at the trailer of this, see what this one's all about.
A lot of books from us over the years. His library could be a real gold mine.
A fake book.
It was in your grandfather's library. I thought it might be the key to something special.
Will you come to the mansion with me this weekend? Help me find a lock for that key.
Let's go find that hidden treasure.
This key is
The key to...
someone's heart.
You're such a romantic.
Yeah, I think this one looks like a fun one. I like the key hidden in the book thing. I like the costumes and the hats they're wearing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one was originally supposed to air last fall, but they preempted it. They decided to take it off the schedule. So now they're airing it this weekend. So I'm looking forward to this one. Now, this Monday, the Great American Book Club is meeting again on Monday, September 30th at 7 o'clock Eastern on Zoom. Cammie and Father Randy are going to continue the Ansley McGregor Mystery Series. This week or next week, they're going to be talking about A Case for the Yarn Maker. In the last meeting, they talked about A Case for the Winemaker. And all these books are written by Candace Havens. And speaking of Candace, she is going to be on the next episode chatting with me about her book series and about the movie that's going to premiere on October 5th, the Ainsley McGregor Mysteries, A Case for the Winemaker. So tune in for that next week. I'm looking forward to chatting with her. I think she will be an interesting one. Until then, let me know what you thought of these Great American Pure Flix movies, and I will see you next week. Until then, you keep the faith, keep smiling, keep your friends close, and keep your Great American family closer.